Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's all good and great and wonderful. Today I'm going to introduce you to my game Squirreled Away. Many of you might be aware that this game is a retheme, a repackaging, and a slight update to a game I previously self-published called Me Booty, which came about because I had a bunch of money left over after I ran a successful Kickstarter in 2016. I felt weird about that because I didn't run that Kickstarter to make a profit. And so I printed 110 decks of Me Booty and gave them away at Gen Con. And I did that because the original version of this game was pirate themed. It was actually kind of billed as the card-only version of my game Scallywags, which was published by Gamewright. So I felt weird about releasing a pirate-themed game which was in direct competition with the Big Brother version of the game, Scallywags, and so I just didn't want to publish it publicly. I'd made 110 decks, gave them away. So one of those decks ended up in the hand of a publisher who pondered publishing it for a little while. We did some development on it, and then it kind of fell apart or fell through. So recently I've been thinking about this game again, and I decided to revisit it, update it, specifically based on the feedback I received from the previous kind of development with a publisher. And what I've come up with is Squirreled Away. This is a game about squirrels who are building their cache of nuts in order to save up a food supply for the winter. So in the game, we have 4 variations of nuts, from 1 point, 3 points, 5 points, and 8 points. We got pine cones and acorns and walnuts and hazelnuts. And then we have 4 variations of squirrels: the eastern gray squirrel, the fox squirrel, the American red squirrel, and the regular old red squirrel. The way the game works is it's a deck of 72 cards face down on the center of the table. On your turn, you're allowed to play either from the top of the deck or the top of the draw pile. If you choose to play from the top of the deck, you'll draw 2 cards, choose one to play, discard the other. If you play from the top of the discard pile, you just play the top card. That's it. When you play a nut card, you can either keep it for yourself or you can give it to an opponent. The goal of the game is to get the most points in your cache. Points are scored by having nuts in your cache as well as having certain squirrels. The game ends once everybody has 6 nuts. So you can only ever have exactly 6 nuts in your cache, and once everybody has exactly 6, the game ends. So giving your opponent a 1 stuffs up their cache with junk, meaning they can't take more of the good stuff, and you want to try to keep the good stuff for yourself. So you take turns, taking nuts, passing them around the table, keeping them for yourself, trying to get your cache to be the biggest. Squirrels come along and kind of mess with all that. There's 4 of them. One of them lets you steal from your opponent, so I could take this 5 from my opponent and put it in front of me. One of them lets me swap any nut in my cache with any nut in an opponent's cache. So say I had this 1 and you had this 5, I could switch places and say, cool, that's mine. 1 lets you flip over any nut card in play. This effectively makes the nut hidden or makes it null, so it's worth 0 points. It still takes up a place in your cache, but it's worth nothing. Additionally, you can use this guy to re-flip this back over. So if somebody flips your nut over, you can flip it back over. Done. And the last one lets you discard any squirrel in play. Squirrels in front of you score points based on the number that you have. For the most part, for these 3, they're only worth points if you have 1 of them. So having 1 red squirrel is worth 3 points. If you ever get a second red squirrel in front of you, well, that was lucky. It nulls the points, and now all of your red squirrels are worth nothing. So getting this little guy, the little fox squirrel, he'll let you discard your squirrels to kind of get more points, or you can discard opponent squirrels to negate their points. Additionally, when you play an acorn on an opponent, you have to discard one of your squirrels. So that's another way to free up some of your points, as well as stuff up your opponent's cache. Again, the game plays until everybody has 6 nuts, and then whoever has the most points wins. It's a super quick, super light game. It's actually really fun to play. It's great with bigger groups. With 72 card deck, this will support from 3 to 8 players, and I would say with like 5 or 6 is really fun because there's a lot of me giving you crap and trying to hold on to my stuff, and things are changing places quite a bit, and it can be very just kind of a silly fun game to play with a group of friends. So I've had a lot of fun working on this, actually. I had a lot of fun with the design of the cards, with the layout. It's probably obvious, but I was heavily inspired by Wingspan. And I think it's a little bit of a nod to that game, especially with the retheming from pirates to squirrels. But ultimately, I think the squirrel theme makes more sense. The original pirate theme, we were divvying up our booty. Everybody was trying to get their equal share, but of course some things are more valuable than others. It works, but I think the squirrel theme works even better. I think that the idea that there's some sneaky squirrels, you know, filling your cache up with garbage and taking their good stuff, that actually happens in the wild. And so it's a little bit more thematic, a little bit more fun. So that's Squirreled Away. I thank you for watching this video. As always, thank you for being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. I totally forgot the ending to my videos. Thank you for being here as always. I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is homage. It is a noun meaning respect paid and deference shown to a superior or other person one admires, fears, or wishes to emulate or praise. Gary took black and white photos with a non-digital camera in homage to Ansel Adams, whose works he greatly admired. Homage. H-O-M-A-G-E. I pronounced it homage because that's the way I've always heard it pronounced, but the book actually says homage. So I don't know, is homage the American English pronunciation? I'm pretty sure homage is like the original Latin-based word. I'm assuming it's Latin.